And in today's episode of Is It True? I'm going to watch a few different clips with some rumours about Tesla. First, the next generation vehicle.
Is Tesla still really working on a Model 2?
AKA the next generation, much more affordable vehicle. Spoiler alert, yes. I mean, shout out to their master plan. Nothing's changed.
Sure looks like it is. In fact, it's working on two versions, one for the US and a slightly different version for Europe. Auto Forecast Solutions reports that Tesla will launch the Model 2 at its gigafactories in Austin and Berlin. But the one for the US is designated 2X, which
Interesting. Now, obviously, you can believe everything you hear on the internet, so clearly this is super true, definitely 100%. But let's think about this logically. What are the odds that there's going to be more than one variation in terms of form factor for Tesla's next generation, much more affordable, modularly manufactured vehicle? Odds are about 100%. And I'll be surprised if there's only two variations. Consumers globally tend to have different preferences. Pickup trucks are really big, literally, in the United States. Not so in a lot of other places. Some consumers would like a sedan, others an SUV. So odds are Tesla's next-gen vehicle will feature a number of variations, at the very least a compact SUV, and I mean compact SUV, and probably a compact sedan, possibly a hatchback version and some other variations. We don't know for sure yet, but this has got to be a mass market vehicle within reach financially of 10 to 20 million consumers per year. So far, whether or not these rumors are legitimate or he said, she said, who knows? Regardless, it's pretty obvious there is going to be a few variations of the next-gen vehicle. So far, I'm giving this a highly credible, although I could have told you that without having heard anything on the grapevine.
Auto Forecast describes as a slightly more rugged off-road version. The Model 2 that will be built at Berlin is a compact, inexpensive car. It goes into production in July of 2027. The rugged 2X.
What? July of 2027? Where did this come from? That's, for the record, 3 years from now. So where could this date have come from? My only possible explanation is that maybe Tesla has contacted some suppliers, obviously you do need to build out supply chain, and said, please, we're going to need fuck tons of these parts from you on this date. Very specific. Otherwise, that being said, this timing wouldn't be surprising. Remember, Tesla has already announced they're going to be implementing some of the learnings from their modular vehicles into an interim generation of vehicle, say halfway between the 3 and Y versus the next gen vehicle, and that they can do so without building any new factories and get to around 3 million units per year, basically adding another 1.2 million units or so, give or take. By the time they do that, timeline could make sense. Again, you can believe everything you hear on the internet, so obviously July 2027 is absolutely correct, but hey, might be credible.
X goes into production in Austin in January of 2026.
Now that is interesting. Roughly 18 months from now. Definitely possible, but it does make you wonder. If that's the case, when's Tesla going to squeeze in the interim vehicle? Now there's a lot of possible ways this could be going. Remember, Tesla has the Robotaxi unveil on the 8th of August, and they actually need to make those things. Where and when are those going to happen? Is there some confusion here? Is the 2X actually the Robotaxi? Or the interim vehicle? Or both? Fuck knows, who knows, I don't know.
But it will only be built until December of 2030, at which time it gets replaced in January of 2031 with the next generation 2X.
Now that is wildly specific, and I'm guessing most likely somebody's heard some supply contracts and timelines. Now, obviously, well actually maybe not obviously, unless of course you've seen my Tesla valuation model. Click the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon at the investor level and above. If you've seen that, you'll understand why I say obviously, but obviously there will be a subsequent generation of even more affordable vehicle after Tesla's, quote, $25,000 vehicle. I mean, obvious things are obvious. Duh. And that timing is about right. The reason I mentioned my valuation model is because I literally have, towards the bottom of the estimates in all the different scenarios, the bear case, the base case, the bull case, and the hyperbole case, a long-term vehicle lineup and average selling prices and annual sales potential table, which includes Tesla's 3 and Y, what I think the long-term base price will be, plus the long-term average price, plus the total annual sales potential. I also include the Cybertruck. I also include the next generation vehicle, which I've labeled as the Tesla Q. This is Tesla's $25,000-ish vehicle. Over time, of course, the cost for Tesla to produce that will actually come down. So it may start at $25,000 as a base price, maybe a little bit more inflation adjusted, but over time that's going to come down. But I also model a new generation of vehicles subsequent to that with a roughly 35% decrease in price once again, expecting that around the end of the decade. And again, this table in the valuation model includes the base price and the average price and the average sales potential. So despite the fact that one may wonder how legitimate are these rumours being reported by the folks at Autoline Network, if a supplier has been told we'll need X amount of parts for a vehicle in here, by here, and then after that there'll be another generation of vehicle, we'll need more parts for this date, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla has contacted some suppliers, and that's where these rumours have come from. They do align with my own estimates very roughly. And again, if you do want to see the valuation model, and then when you see stuff like this, you're like, oh, I'm not surprised. Click the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon at the investor level and above. So, is this true? Are these rumours credible? Well, credible, yes. True, possibly. But even if they're not, something like this is pretty likely. I could have told you that. In fact, I kind of did in my valuation model. All right, enough plugging. And now part 2 of Is It True? According to the headline, Tesla makes major cuts to Model Y output. Major, sounds scary and big.
All right, we got Tesla cutting production. We need to take us through the story.
Applauding this today because the company is finally addressing that weakening demand that we've seen for several quarters that it didn't seem like the company wanted to admit about, certainly not Elon Musk. But right now they're addressing the demand that's weakening for the Model Y. Tesla's reportedly planning to cut the Model Y production at its biggest manufacturing hub globally. That's the Shanghai plant. They're planning to cut production by at least 20% during the March to June quarter at that plant, and industry data backs up that this is likely in the works already because the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers showed that the Model Y output in China was at around 49,500, very close to that number in March. That was about 18% lower, right? And then in April, it came in about 33% lower. Now, we're not sure if the output cut will extend into the second half of this year, but... So I'm not sure if they're saying that they've seen lower numbers in the last couple of months, therefore Tesla has officially cut output, or if I'm a little bit confused as to if they're saying this is going to happen or it's already happening, because look, here's the last 2 months of data. But I do just want to point something out. Certainly, it's not as easy to move vehicles now as it was before interest rates were through the roof. A lot of consumers are delaying purchases. I've been over this many times. However, I do just want to put something out there, and that is, you know how Tesla, out of nowhere, refreshed the Model 3? The new soundproofing, the heated seats, the higher performance, that whole thing. You know how they did that? And then bam, out of nowhere, hey guys, you can now order the Performance Model 3, available in certain regions, not the US yet. It was available in the Asia Pacific region, basically initially, and then eventually the US. And prior to doing that, they had to slow down production of the Model 3 to upgrade the lines for the refreshed version. Remember how that happened? And then remember how some guy with 3 first names said, well, it's quite obvious that there'll also be a comparable refresh to the Model Y in the works. Exactly when, I don't know, but it will happen. Is it possible, maybe, that Tesla's taking this opportunity to start making some of those upgrades? Now, I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying it is possible. Because, to be clear, this is going to happen. There will be a refreshed version of the Model Y, which today is already the world's best-selling vehicle, before the refresh, with comparable upgrades to Model 3. As far as we're aware, the new refreshed Model 3 is as affordable to produce, if not even more affordable to produce in the past generation, but it's way better. So it's a kind of a no-brainer. We'll know soon enough, of course, but just pointing this out. Refreshed Model Y, for sure, will come. And for sure, first from Shanghai, then the US and or Europe. We know that Tesla still plans on selling up to 700,000 vehicles in China in total this full year, so they haven't adjusted that full year outlook for the output yet, right? And they're also planning on selling 2 million EVs globally this year. We haven't heard anything telling us anything otherwise right now. And of course, as I said, it's addressing the weakening demand. Why has this been happening? Because it's been a brutal price war in China happening among the 300 or so EV makers. We know that the government has been trying to consolidate them, but all of these EV makers are flooding the market with cheap vehicles, and it makes it difficult for Tesla to still maintain its priority position, even though it's still up there and it's still.
So I do take the point. It's a very competitive market in China. BYD selling vehicles for literally 33% the cost of a Tesla, sometimes half the price. So they have a huge addressable market versus Tesla. But remember, Tesla exports a lot of vehicles from Shanghai. But are we going to hear about interest rates? Like, why is that no one's talking about interest rates and affordability? Personally, I would be a little surprised if Tesla was cutting Model Y output simply because consumers are having a hard time affording to purchase them. Tesla can still move prices. They recently offered 0.99% finance for Model Ys in the US, caused a surge in people buying one. So they can still pull the pricing lever, and it's in their best interest to get vehicles on roads. It's in line with their mission, and it'll also collect data for autonomy. What do you guys think? Is something brewing? Is a Model Y upgrade in the works? Or is Tesla scaling back because they simply can't sell vehicles?
Still has the largest, but they've got a lot of different vehicle makers coming for Tesla's market share. Now, meanwhile, Tesla did also release its latest impact report yesterday. And what was noticeably missing, Oliver, was the goal of delivering 20 million vehicles per year by the year 2030. That's a tall order right now because Tesla hasn't even broken 1 million yet. And so I said,
what? I think she might have meant 2 million there. Now, just to be clear, this goal was always a tall order. That was kind of the point. Remember when Tesla set a goal? Actually, many people don't, but back in 2014, they had a goal of 500,000 vehicles in 2020, and everyone laughed and said impossible, never going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then it happened. Tesla has a habit of setting and often achieving impossible goals. Once again, if you guys have seen my valuation model, you'll know even in my bull case, I don't have Tesla delivering, well, actually producing / delivering same shit, 20 million vehicles in 2030. Not too far off it, but even in the bull case, I see that as an extreme stretch goal and probably not going to get there. Whether or not this isn't repeated from one impact report to another, maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. But Tesla themselves, due to the economic uncertainty, did say they were slowing up their accelerated plans. So obviously, things are going to get pushed out by a year or two just from that alone. However, something that's very important, critically important actually, is to understand the metric that matters most for Tesla in terms of their mission. Some guy on X summed it up perfectly. The metric by which Tesla's automotive business is best measured against their mission statement is not vehicles sold. It is the percent of all miles driven per year in a Tesla. Electric vehicle miles as a percent of all miles is what matters. And autonomy will be a huge accelerant. Now, obvious things are obvious. Remember, Tesla's Robotaxi unveil 8th of August. It's extremely likely that at least a portion of Tesla's autonomous strategy is to produce robotaxis to operate their own fleets as opposed to selling them to customers. So you can't count a vehicle produced as a delivery if you don't deliver it to anyone because you're the customer and you operate it yourself, right? And I really want to underscore this point. In terms of Tesla's automotive business, per their mission statement, which is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, their goal is to increase the number of miles driven per year in Tesla vehicles. They're clearly going all in on autonomy. And I think that we're going to see a massive shift in Tesla's narrative to investors around miles driven as opposed to vehicles sold. This company is transforming into a transport as a service monster. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of emphasis on how many vehicles per year Tesla is selling to customers. It's really going to be about deployment of robotaxis, FSD take rates, miles driven, and their progress with AI. This guy also posted a follow-up saying that Tesla has forced the entire automotive industry to move to electric vehicles or perish, which means that Tesla can low-key take credit for many non-Tesla electric vehicle miles per year. And as for autonomy, Tesla will also force the automotive industry to become autonomous, which is a big win for safety. There was a time until quite recently where autonomy, we didn't know exactly when it's going to happen. Tesla was making progress, but kept running into roadblocks, finding local maximums, as Musk would describe them. That's no longer the case with a rewrite video end-to-end. V12 is a breakthrough and a massive game changer. So we're really starting to see the shift for this company now. The emphasis away from quarterly vehicle deliveries toward autonomy, robotaxis, and miles driven. Just flagging that now. So to be really clear, if you've been following the Tesla story closely for a number of years, including lately, I'll just be honest, you'd have to be a pretty big dope to still think that 20 million units per year is as realistic a goal today as it was a few years ago. Because between now and then, Tesla themselves have explicitly told investors that they're slowing their rapid expansion plans. So they're probably off the pace by about 2 years. That's my best estimate. But again, what matters more than that is that now, with Tesla on the cusp of autonomy, vehicles sold to customers are going to become a sideshow. What it's all about is how many of Tesla's robotaxis can the company produce? How affordably can they produce them? How fast can they produce them globally and get these things operating on roads? And how many miles is the average Tesla robotaxi doing per year? Perhaps an analogy. How many investors today still give a flying fuck how many books Amazon sells every quarter? Oh, that's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. That being said, Tesla still may be aiming to produce 20 million vehicles in 2030, although most of those, or many of those, they will retain and operate as dedicated robotaxis. But again, what was a big stretch goal has become infinitely more challenging. And again, there is a reason I have a valuation model. You guys can access it and see what I think even the bull case is, the best case scenario for production in 2030. And like I said, it ain't 20 million units.
This is just something that'll continue to be on our radar, and the year 2030 is really closer than we think.
Yeah, the potential for some major disruptions, even in the very short term, still between U.S. and China, seems like a real part of this too. Where we've already heard reports that maybe they would put tariffs on U.S. goods, and seems like Tesla's also indicated from some of these reports that they need to start making sure all the parts are U.S. made too, in case there's more attention there. So I mean, it's they built all this infrastructure to supply to China, and it seems like they might be running into some major hurdles.
It might be, and I want to confirm later, though, that it is likely that Tesla has come close to selling 1 million. I mean, they plan on selling up to 700,000 in China alone, so they've likely broken through that 1 million number, of course. They've likely done that multiple times. I just wanted to correct that really quickly.
Well, good to see the correction. So I think we're going to get a lot of clarification on the 8th of August at Tesla's Robotaxi Unveil event. And I'm quite confident that the focus is going to be heavily on not just miles driven in Tesla vehicles, but autonomous miles driven in Tesla vehicles annually. That's the bar with which Tesla measures their success in at least the transportation aspect of their mission. There is a reason that from version 1, the very first time I published my Tesla valuation model on Patreon, back in 2021, total miles driven in Tesla robotaxis was a key metric. By the way, if you guys have got the very first version, feel free to fact check me. You'll see it there. In the robotaxi section, you got the percent of Tesla's fleet as robotaxis, the robotaxi fleet size, cents per mile, the platform fee, as in what Tesla's cut is of all of the fares, the average miles driven per robotaxi, and the total miles driven, plus the revenue, profits, and margins on the robotaxi business. The number of miles driven in Tesla robotaxis per year is going to be a huge driver, pun intended, of Tesla's growth and profitability. If you'd like to know exactly how much of a driver, at least based on some of my scenarios, check out the link in the description to join Patreon at investor level and above, and check out my Tesla valuation model, or better yet, build your own. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. There's plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship. when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend, seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game has improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.